Welcome to the Trading Lounge. I'd love to share with you the trades I made today on my journey to 100K, where I try to take a small account, $200,000, as a rookie day trader. Started this journey back in December. Started off pretty hot, and it's been up and down ever since, and right now we're definitely in a down. So over the weekend, I've been studying, listening to podcasts, reading books, having conversations with people about kind of the emotional side of trading, because I feel like the technical side I'm starting to really understand, but really being in tune with my emotions during these highly volatile stocks that are running up, can go up and down 50 cents at a time, and you've got to be really on it to make some money on these stocks. And so part of that process was me visualizing specific setups that I wanted to trade this morning, and I did not see those setups. So then it's about, how do I judge my trading day today? Because those setups didn't cross my path. So for the month of July, I have started a sub challenge. The idea here is, after I had a pretty bad June, that I would tighten it up a little bit, and only play a few setups. And so we've got the purpose of this challenge, July challenge, is to build discipline. The whole thing is about building discipline and managing my emotions. And I haven't nailed it entirely yet this month. There's been a couple days where I've been a little off. So I'm really trying to rein that in. To build discipline by strictly trading only quality setups. And here's my trading parameters. This is basically the 5 pillars of float-ish from the Ross Cameron Warrior Trader program. And then I have these A+ setups, which is what I was visualizing, which is the first 1 minute candle to make a new high after breaking news, or the first move of a stock even without breaking news, which we're going to get to today. And then I had some other stuff, some other little, to give me a little freedom to be able to trade kind of some other things that didn't really work out last week. And then I have my exit indicators, which in some ways are a little vague, but stop price falls below 5 or 10 cents. The stock stalls for more than 5 to 10 seconds. Big sellers appear on the ask, which I saw today. The ask and bid stalls or drops. And but I actually took some notes. After the weekend, I tightened this up a little bit. So I wanted a specific stop here. So anything under $5 was a 5-cent stop. Anything over $5 was a 10-cent stop. And then when I woke up this morning, I'm like, I could maybe say 15 cents on everything, but I really was trying to go with what I used to do back when I started this challenge back in December. So I visualized a couple of scenarios this morning, and they were, I was only going to restrict myself to 2 setups. The price range could be my normal price range, $2 to $15, but I wanted to see breaking news, and I wanted to see a first 1 minute candle to make a new high after a pullback. I could get in a little early if I wanted, but you risk a double top. So I was going to focus on waiting until it just passes over, which can be a little riskier at times, in my opinion. In case something rejects, or you get a bad fill, and it can be a little ugly, but it works. The other one was I'm okay taking the same setup but with no news. So no, those were it. Those were the 2 scenarios that I visualized in my head. I watched trades that I've made in the past of those setups. I printed out a document on my wall that has one of those setups. And this morning I did the same thing. I went through, I read through this document that I have. And on the bottom of this document, it talks about reviewing live archives of the trades, winning and losing. I went through that process. What I did not do this morning was I did not review the video that I have written down here, the stock of a parabolic move that I have as an example, because I decided if a stock goes parabolic, I'm not going to get in. I only want to get in on the first leg up. I'm going to call it a day, and if there's multiple moves of that with 3 or 4 stocks throughout the day, great. But there wasn't. So let's go over the stocks that popped up today, the feelings that I was going through on one of these stocks that went parabolic, and just kind of go through it. So started the day with QTTB actually on the scanner from yesterday's Friday's continuation, and I currently hear one of my children absolutely crying outside this door here. He's not happy. We're going to check on him real quick. Okay, I think he's all right. So, this thing hits the scanner this morning. I'm watching it because it's continuation off of Friday, and so I'm expecting news on this stock actually a little later than it happened. So right here at 6:59, 6:59 a.m. when most of the traders can start trading, right around there, it pops up. It goes from $15 up to $23, double tops and comes right back down. And let me get rid of this because we don't really need this. There you go. However, it didn't fit my criteria for this account because the stock price was too high, and it did have breaking news. I didn't realize it at the time because I was expecting the news to come a little bit later. So it technically could have worked out okay for my Lightspeed account, but because I don't try to trade the Lightspeed account before the 7 o'clock hour, that's just part of my schedule. So I actually pulled Webull up, and I traded this on Webull. I traded it right in this zone. I'll show you on the 10-second chart because it's easier to show here, right here in this zone right here. So it comes up, this little pullback. I bought in this zone. It popped up to here. I got out for a profit. I think I made like $100, $80 on it or something like that in my Webull account. So I was happy to start the day with a little something, just not on this account. So that's okay. One of the next stocks that came up was Amix, and this one had. Let me reset the chart. Where are you? Wow, I'm struggling here. Oh, I can't reset the chart this way because of. Okay, I got to figure it out. So I believe this had news. Let me take a look. Yeah, it had news, but I just did not like this price action. So a couple things here, right? It's easy to borrow. I'm not a big fan of anything easy to borrow because that means that people on this platform don't have to locate shares. I believe that's how it works. Anyway, easy to borrow. And I just wasn't really excited about this price action. It came up, it came down right in here, and then at that point, it doesn't fit my criteria. I'm not, right now, this morning, I'm not trading these retests of highs or break of VWAPs or anything like that. It needed to happen kind of in this move, and I didn't like this, or that. So I didn't trade it. And then, let's see, the other one was TDIC was definitely a hot one this morning. And this, I don't know, man. I think I probably would have traded this last week, but it has breaking news. Oh, no, it didn't have news. It did not have news, but it had this run up right here, and it was a Hong Kong stock. And this does it fit the volume criteria? There's no volume up here. There's still no volume. The volume doesn't really come in. Yeah, this is an easy no trade for me because the volume profile the amount of volume doesn't fit my criteria for the challenge for this month, and so. Not only that, but we have these major topping wicks right here, and then this is just all top wicks. This is a very ugly chart. There was some opportunity to take trades on it, and actually I think it got a little cleaner later on. That's actually a pretty clean move right there. And I saw this move, but it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit my visualizations for today. And I've been able to show that once they go sideways, my win rate goes down pretty heavily. At least for now. So we're just focusing on, visualizing those things and kind of going through that battle. But it would have had to have been in this range. And then let's see here. Amex. Let's go to this one. We'll cover a couple of these other ones last. CMND hit the scanner, and with this, I almost traded this, but it is on my no-fly zone. But I still would like to trade things that are on my no-fly zone. I don't think I saw there was news on it initially, and then I saw the news come in later. But, it pops up, goes up to 230, comes down, opens, goes above that. That's kind of be where I would entry. And I was actually watching it. I watched it there, and I really watched it right here. I was like, if this thing can break over, basically 248, 249, and break over 250, there's a chance here. And I almost took this trade. The reality is, even though I say that I trade anything $2 to $15, I really like to see something $3. I like to visualize, are other traders really going to be going in on this to make this thing go up? I'd like to see this go higher than $3. And I just didn't think traders were really going to be that interested in the stock, and it was on my no-fly list. So I wanted to trade it, and I could have traded it, and it I think if it would have been a different stock, I would have traded it because it fit my rules minus the no news. Let me look at the volume. Yeah, volume was account as well. Didn't trade it. That's okay. Let's talk about VEEE. So this one I've seen before, and it's never done that well for me. And it was merger news. And it just didn't have the profile I was looking for. I mean, there were trade opportunities on this for sure. I'm sure people made money on this. Because, as it came up initially, I needed to see, this candle and then another one above it, Like I need to see multiple candles. I needed to see, I don't even really see that anywhere in here, but I kind of need to see this action more over here for me to really take a stab at it with what I'm trying to do this morning. So I didn't do it. So I watched this. I don't even know what the volume is. Yeah, the volume, they had plenty of volume, but it comes up, comes down, loops back around, retests that high of day, and that's where where a lot of people are getting in. And buying down here towards the MA. This you get the double whammy of the break of VWAP. This thing opens, goes above this candle, goes above the high of day, rejects right off of that. I think I went and looked at this, and I think, oh, this is the one I was looking at. Like maybe you could have taken, but that actually that popped down. That little jackknife happened in 1 10-second candle. So I don't think this would have been a good trade, because in the old days I would have traded this. Like you get a green candle, then you get a red candle, then the first green candle to make a new high after a red candle. That's how I used to trade. But I think this rejected right back down. Anyway, so I didn't trade this, and it had a couple moves. And once it came up and retested this, it held it, right? And then came up and cleared it again, right? Pulled back and cleared it again, right? I mean, there were some moves here for folks who really wanted to trade that. And now the stock of the day is PLSM. I actually, by the way, this is a no trade day for me. As you can see, I made 3 cents on it. I was just doing a test trade to take a look at some things I had changed. I ended up not trading today, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. But let me pull this up. So here's the stock that happened today. So PLSM, in my price range, the right float, it actually had news. But here's the deal. I actually recorded the way you're seeing this now. I actually recorded my trade this morning. I actually turned the light on and the microphone, and I actually recorded my session in this way. And I actually talked in my mic to get an understanding of how I was feeling. That was something new I did today. I actually went and reviewed it before I came and did this video. I'm not ready to share it yet because I probably will share it, but there's some volume issues with the alerts where they're really loud over my voice. I have to figure all that stuff out. Anyway, it was a good kind of first run, but really wanted to capture what I was thinking. So I've actually talked through this already. And the reason why I didn't trade this stock was because while this is the initial run up on the stock, the news happened an hour ago prior to this. So I hadn't visualized that. And I only visualized breaking news in my mind, that initial breaking news with that run up and where I would get in, where I would get out. And then I visualized a stock that's taking off with no news. I did not visualize a stock that had news earlier in the day or an hour. Now, I'm telling you right now, the first thing I'm going to do tonight or tomorrow morning is visualize that. I'm going to add it I'm going to add that because I really wish I would have traded this, and I wanted to trade it so bad. But because it didn't fit the visualizations that I had created in my brain for how I wanted to trade today, I did not trade it. Then do we call that a win? I'd like to think so. I'd like to think I managed my emotions. There was clear entries here, and it's a missed opportunity. And I was feeling those things, and I talked about it while I was watching this trade, while I was watching this happen. This thing pops up on pretty light volume. I think, was this light volume? Yeah, pretty light volume in this first few candles. So in my video, I'm looking at it right in here, but it's not really doing anything. And I'm like, what is this? I'm like, oh, I had news an hour ago. I'm like, I'm not really interested. Actually, no one's really interested. There's no real volume here. I mean, but there's no volume at this point. They're green, but there's no volume. Then all of a sudden, the volume starts to creep in. And I'm basically walking through this entire trade on where I would trade it if I was going to trade it. And there was quite a bit of opportunities in here to trade this. On the scenario that I've got, that I've planned for myself today and probably the rest of July, I would have traded this. The first trade I would have made on this would have been right here. So could have been right here. Where are my lines? Let me get rid of the lines here. here, and then go here. Yeah, it would have been here, and you could have had another entry right there, and 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 another entry right there. It wasn't that clean, but I was watching this. So this is each of these candles cross over, right? So this candle crosses over there, this candle crosses over there. This candle pulls back, crosses over there. This candle opens up. I mean, this is like my bread and butter. And I didn't trade it. And there was a point in here where I'm like, okay, I feel like because this is potential blue sky setup, which I can see over here, that I don't want to miss the potential for a blue sky setup. So I loaded up my Webull account, which still had some BP in it. And I'm like, if this goes over the blue sky, I'm gonna trade it. But then I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. We're gonna close it down, right? Because this whole thing is about managing my emotions and that feeling of FOMO. In this scenario, there was some FOMO, but it was. I'd love to be. Maybe I'll create a short or something of the recording that I did, but I'm processing it. I'm like, okay, it kind of sucks to not be in this stock, but I didn't visualize it today. It's not a part of my visualization, so I'm not going to trade it. It doesn't fit the criteria. And then I'm like, at some point, I'm like, I kind of get frustrated. I'm kind of frustrated. I didn't get in this move. And then I'm like, oh man, it'd be nice to get in for this potential blue sky. And then eventually it calms down, and I'm like, well, I mean, if I wanted to get in, we should have made the decision down here, not up here. Is that growth in my emotional intelligence and my, in my trading? I think so. It took a lot of discipline to not make this trade today. I was only going to go in with 100 shares. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But as we know, even 100 shares can be pretty damaging. I've been able to prove that on this account over the last month and a half. So, it was an interesting day. So I am going to add this. What's funny about this stock is that I was like, gosh, I really feel like there was a stock a couple weeks ago that the same thing happened, where it ran up at random, after the news was put out. The initial news did nothing, and then at some point in time, traders are like, we're going to run this up, or whoever's deciding that. And I'm like, what stock was that? And I start looking through my notes. I have this little collection bin for my notes, and I go through those every week. And I'm like, I don't see it in there. And then I looked at my sheet. I looked at my July document, and right down here, the stock that I review for parabolic examples is literally PLSM, the same stock that ran up today. That begs the question. If I would have watched that video, because normally I watch that video every morning since I created this document. So every day in July, every trading day, I've watched that video of that parabolic stock. Literally the same stock going parabolic in June. Now, if I was in this trade, if I was looking at this and I would have watched that video this morning, would I have traded it? Maybe. Recalling that was the same stock and the same thing happened with the news. And I think I probably would have traded it. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys were green today. No trade day. I'm going to be very tempted to trade AH, but it doesn't fit the rules for the July challenge. I am looking forward to August when I can open this up a little bit. I talked to the wifey a little bit about this morning. She says, this was kind of the problem when the market went cold in February and I decided to kind of tighten it up. So then I didn't really see my setup this morning. The setup I wanted, I did not really see this morning. There was one stock, I forget the name of it, that had the setup, but I didn't see news. The news came out 5 minutes later on my platform, but the news was actually there early in the move on Thinkorswim. I wasn't looking at Thinkorswim at the time. So there was a setup there. But for the most part, I didn't see my setups today. And the wifey's like, this is kind of what happened last time. So it's like I ended up opening up my playbook to more setups and learning more setups, because as the market slowed down, my setups never showed up. And I've just been kind of opening the playbook ever since. And now I just tightened it back up, and you have this opportunity that I feel like I could capitalize on, and especially now because I've had some practice on trading some of these things. But this is the issue, tightening that up. But I think the currency of the mental, winning the mental warfare and sticking to that will play out long term. Because I can always, then I was telling myself, there's going to be another setup like this. Could happen tomorrow. Could happen in 5 minutes. Could happen on a stock that I actually visualized. So that it could come, So anyway, this is a long video for a no trade day, but working through the mentals. Hope you guys had a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.